Hello, YouTube. Thank you for joining me again for another live stream. These have been so fun, and I'm so excited to be doing another one with you today. Today, I am really excited to be talking about Dexter Yager, who was the past top distributor at Amway, which is a massive MLM. Unfortunately, Dexter Yager did pass away in 2019. So, of course, all respects to his family. And I want us to quickly go through who Amway is, what their products are, a quick description of who Dexter Yager is, and then I have about a 20-minute video of him and his wife Birdie on 60 Minutes, I think from the 1980s. And you know me, I talk a lot in these videos, so I anticipate this is going to be a super long video. And no pressure if you have to go or if you don't want to watch the whole thing. That's totally fine. So we already have quite a few friends here. Simon says, finally, an anti MLMer is talking about the highest earning MLM fraudster. Yeah, he's made a lot of money. Hi, Rosie. Thank you for coming again. It's great to see you live. Lift Panic, hi. Thank you for coming. And Rich, hi. Thank you for coming. So I'm just going to start sharing my screen. And please bear with me. I have a lot of different screens I want to show today, and I hope I don't click on the wrong one by accident. So this is the right one. I'm going to change the format so you can see the screen better. And I want to quickly talk about what Amway is really quick. I hope you can see this, but I'm just going to quickly read this page. So, Amway business owners earn income by recommending and selling our highest quality products and building a team to do the same. Our extensive range of personalized healthy nutrition, beauty, and home products help people live a more healthy and balanced live a more balanced and active life. I cannot read apparently. So, according to Amway, their MLM opportunity is a low cost independent business startup. Our on demand training and digital tools help empower you to run your business wherever you want. Doesn't that sound amazing? We've designed the business with flexibility in mind. While you're building your business how you want, you're not alone. There's a network of more than 1 million Amway business owners to share successes, brainstorm ideas, and celebrate together. We know you're busy, so we make it simple to get started and keep it going. Now, doesn't that sound super fun? So, this is more description of Amway. Nearly 400 products. Wow. We make nearly 400 high quality nutrition, beauty, and home products that people around the world use every day, backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. In fact, Amway sells more products with a satisfaction guarantee than any other direct seller. And remember, direct selling is another word that means exactly the same thing as network marketing. So apparently there's more than 1 million business owners around the world, and they earn extra income for themselves and their families. Since 1959, Amway has paid out more bonuses and cash incentives to its distributors worldwide than any other direct sales company in history. So this is one of the biggest companies. Amway operates in more than 100 countries and territories, covering more than 60 languages. More than 15,000 employees include more than 500 scientists, engineers, and technical professionals. We have been named the #1 direct selling company in the world. So obviously you're named the #1 direct selling company because you've been around since 1959 and you have more than 1 million business owners. That's outrageous to me. So I'm going to go to another page, just quick. This one will be fast. So I wanted to quickly show an example of what the Amway products are. So here are some nutrition products. So you can see there's vitamins. It looks like this one here is a powder. Ooh, a women's pack. Ooh, an immunity pack. exciting. And then, yeah, and so here are some other health ones. You can get vitamins, you can get probiotics, fiber powder, and then here you can see the different kinds of products. So you'll see oral care, hair care, air treatment, ooh, dish soap, laundry, gifts, etc. So I just wanted to give some background to that first. So we have some commenters here. Todd Power says something. Amway has banned their independent business owners from going onto social media. That is why there's so little talk about Amway in the anti-MLM community. Very interesting. Todd says, thanks so much for talking about Dexter Yager. This was actually the idea of one of my viewers who suggested this, and I thought it would be a really good live stream to do. So I'm really happy people are watching. Let's see. Oh, Todd Power says sub. Yay. Thank you for joining us. Ban live export. Yay. Amway has done an amazing job of going under the radar. Thanks, Heather, for reporting on Dexter. And this was actually your idea. So thank you for bringing this up to me and encouraging me to do a video on Amway. I really, really appreciate that. Rosie says they only have that many products, so you can switch all of your products to Amway. Yes, fantastic point. We all know in these kinds of companies that they want you to replace every single product you use with the MLM products, and products like Amway and Arbonne, they're very, very expensive, and you'll end up spending lots and lots of money. So another screen I want to share. Thank you for your patience while I'm switching between a bunch. Before doing the video on Dexter, I wanted us to talk about who Dexter is quickly, and I struggled a lot to find a non-biased description of Dexter Yager's experience in MLM. I don't know if you can see this. I'm just going to quickly read off parts of it, and then we can get going for the video. So Yager was described as the grandfather of network marketing and the father of modern MLM. He was one of the most successful distributors in Amway, the company that used multi-level marketing to sell everything from soap and cosmetics to a way of life. So he was born in 1939. We don't need to know that part. And he oversaw half of Amway's global sales network of 2 million people. That's outrageous. His distributors sold $2 billion worth of products each year. One multi-level marketing site said he earned up to $12 million as recently as a decade ago. So he's making all the money. Yager became involved with the Amway company in 1964 after he began working a series of sales jobs following high school, including as a Utica Club beer salesman. So Amway was in its early years at the time, as it was founded in 1959. Yager's first and most successful business was his own independent Amway distributorship that he and his wife Bertie started 54 years ago. They were the first to achieve many of the highest levels in the Amway business, which spread to more than 80 countries. The Yager name, philosophies, and methods became synonymous. Oh, I lost my spot. With success within the direct selling multi-level marketing industry. Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about what Amway actually is, a really basic description of who Dexter Yager was. And then I have a video from, the comments say 1981. I don't know if that's actually true, but it's from a long, long time ago. So before I start, I'm not sure if the audio is at a good level because the quality of this video isn't as good. So if you feel like it's too loud or too quiet, please let me know in the comments and I can fix it for you. Let me just get this up. Okay, cool. And I did not have it at the beginning. So I think I already mentioned this at the beginning, but since Dexter Yager unfortunately passed away, I just want to make sure that we're respectful in these conversations. Of course, you guys will be, and we can just try to talk about what he's saying in this video and his actions in Amway, and let's just try to keep it focused on that, just out of respect for his family, if that's okay. So I'm really excited for this. Again, please let me know if the audio isn't good or not.
No, I didn't. I really didn't know what to think was going to be like.
I did not start it at the beginning. Let me try that again. Sorry. 0. There you go.
Did you ever think it was going to be this good, Red?
No, I didn't. I really didn't know what to think was going to be like.
What do you mean?
Well, I didn't understand business, and I didn't think this was too business-like. And I didn't really know what to think in those days because I didn't really know much about life.
You were the baby of 16 children in Rome, New York.
Yes.
So the interviewer was just asking her if she expected this level of financial success in Amway, and she said when they started the business, she wasn't expecting it, and he asked her why, and she said, "I didn't really understand business, and I didn't know much about life," and I respect that kind of comment. It's really honest, saying like she might not have had a lot of life experience, so she didn't really know what to think about it. Dave said, "Heather, please review the movie Welcome to Life. Amway spent a fortune trying to get this movie banned, but today it can be seen on YouTube." I'm not sure if I have the ability to do a proper movie review. I think if I could find like a quick YouTube summary of it, I'd be open to doing that, or like reacting to the trailer, but I don't think I could do a full review. But Dave, thank you for leaving that comment.
Your dad did what for a living?
He worked at Revere Copper and Brass, a mill in Rome.
So
Also, how's the audio? Please let me know. Thank you.
we had to really keep cracking to take care of 16 children.
Well, he started working there when I was about 3, so up until then he was a farmer and different things.
How in the world? Now you have 7 children.
We have 7.
7 children between you. Did it ever occur to you, Bertie, Dexter, did it ever occur to you that you were going to wind up multi-millionaires and from Amway?
Not really. Back when I was about 12 years old, I used to dream about being rich someday. And, I sort of had that goal of what could happen. But when I got in this business, I was looking for freedom. I wanted to have my own business, and that was more important than having wealth.
Please, while we're watching this, remember that it's from 1981. So just remember, like, take what they're saying and within the context of the time, but also think about it in comparison to what we see the modern MLM distributors saying. So he just said he wasn't thinking about wealth, he just wanted freedom. And we know that's a big, big part about how MLMers will pull you into the business, because lots of people want to be able to work when they want to be able to go hang out with their kids when they want. And that's a really big positive that people see. So Band Live Export says, "Welcome to Life is an awesome movie." Rosie says, "Audio sounds good." Thank you, Rosie. And then Band Live Export, "Amway threw everything at the filmmakers. They don't want you to see it." Yeah, I bet.
I think wealth is a natural outgrow of committing yourself to something that you enjoy doing.
That sounds like Amway literature. But I can't believe that you're... Come on, Bertie. Didn't the two of you late at night, 16, 17 years ago when you started with Amway, didn't you say, hey, we want to be rich?
Oh, yes. That's why we dreamed and everything else. And I used to dream as a teenager of being rich. But at that time, I didn't know what rich was. Rich was having a little bit more than what we had.
$25,000 a year at that time we would have been millionaires in our own right.
Well, of course. I remember going to college. This was little more than 40 years ago. I used to think that $10,000 a year, now that was really
rich
security.
Yeah, that's right.
And the richer you get,
the more that you can see and the more that you know you're not rich.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
So please don't quote me on this. The richer you get, something about the more you can see and the more you see that you're not rich. I think that's really relevant in the context of modern MLM too, because people always are told to always keep pushing to the next level, keep pushing to the next milestone. And we've heard from people like Jessica Hickson or Deanna Mins that you can't just be content where you are and happy with your earnings. You have to keep pushing and keep advancing in your rank. So even though this was like 40 years ago, I think a lot of what he's saying still rings true today.
It depends on what world you're looking from. Back when I was dead broke, making $95 a week, if I made $8,000 that year, I would have been rich.
Sure.
And I remember back in the early days when we first got into business, and Rich DeVos came into a big function, and he got up there and he said, "You're never going to get rich in Amway. You'll make some good money, but you're never going to get rich in Amway." And I sat there and I said, "How can you say that, man? If I make just a little bit more than what I'm making now, I'll be rich." I was looking around at everybody in the business to me was rich.
Well, why did he say that? I mean, Richard DeVos is the gospel singer of Amway. He and Jay Van Andel are the two big fellas.
Rich and Jay have always been very conservative, and they have always played down the potential because they want to make sure that nobody out in the field is selling for something that isn't.
You once said, Dexter,
So he was talking about how the two of the founders were saying, you won't get rich from Amway. And it's because they don't want distributors to sell Amway as something that it isn't, which is interesting. Usually MLM distributors are encouraged to make outrageous income claims and really exaggerate and lie about what the opportunity has done for them. And this interviewer, I think he's fantastic. He is pushing back against both of them and challenging them, but doing it in what I think is a really respectful, intelligent way. So I really, really like this interviewer because he said, the two men, I can't remember their names, sorry, they're the gospel singers of Amway. And I thought that was really funny. I really like this guy. So Rosie says, I agree. Never stop trying to advance in the comp plan. And if you get to the top, go to another company and try to make it to the top there. Fantastic, fantastic point. And we know that people who make it to the top of one MLM, when they decide to move, a lot of the times they will bring their entire downline with them. So it really doesn't take them that long to get to the top of their next company. That's a great point.
I don't have to get up in the morning to go to work. Can you imagine such a disgusting word in our vocabulary as work?
I think so many people.
So he said that Dexter said, I don't have to wake up in the morning to go to work. It's such a disgusting word. Excuse me. I think that's really relevant to what MLM distributors say now. For some reason, the 9-to-5 stable job is really demonized, and it's assumed that no one wants to have that kind of job and that no one wants to get compensated for their time and trade time for money, which I don't know about you. I want to be compensated for my time. I want to be able to plan for retirement at a relatively young age and have pension plan and have a good savings account. But in an MLM, you may have that kind of income, but chances are you're not going to be able to even cover your expenses, let alone save for retirement. So that's really interesting.
People, hate their work. And I don't really feel I work. I do what I like to do. And, Abe Lincoln said many years ago, man's just about as happy as he makes up his mind to be. And I think so many people work so hard today to make themselves hate their work, like they're doing the thing they dislike. And I think that's why we got today so many ulcers and so many problems. Instead of making up your mind, I'm going to find something good in what I do, and I'm going to enjoy it.
But somebody's got to do.
That's something else about what he's saying that's relevant today. MLM distributors assume that everyone hates their job, that everyone's miserable, and everyone needs to find something else. But I'm sure lots of people out there like their job, are really fulfilled in their job, or maybe they don't mind it, but they're like looking for a different job. Not everyone in the whole world is going to hate their job, Dexter. So we have some comments here. Dexter is the greatest con artist in history. I don't know much about him other than a little bit of information that I got for the stream, but I'm definitely going to do more research. MLM is fraud, says Dexter Yager used to chant at rallies. I showed the plan 5 to 6 nights a week. I don't know what the plan is. I think a different viewer was talking about it a long time ago in the comments. That is also something I'm going to research. So I'm going to go back just a few seconds because the interviewer is going to say something quite interesting. Okay.
Make up your mind, I'm going to find something good in what I do, and I'm going to enjoy it.
But somebody's got to do the work. Not everybody can enjoy, not everybody can join Amway, then there'll be nobody else to sell to.
Well, it's like
He said two things. Someone has to do the work, and not everyone can join Amway because then they have no one else to sell to. So, number one, someone has to work these 9 to 5 jobs. Someone needs to be working in grocery stores. Someone needs to be teachers or doctors or therapists or any 9 to 5 job that provides a service to community members that they actually really need. Without 9 to 5 jobs during the pandemic, the world would have shut down. So we do need people in those positions. Second, he said, not everyone can join Amway because then you'll have no one else to sell to. Wonderful point, interviewer, sir. You can't have everyone be in Amway or else there'd be no one else to be in Amway. There's endless chain of recruiting where you recruit 5 people and then you want all of those people to recruit 5 people and so on and so on. Then before you know it, you ran out of people in the world and there's no one else left. So we got more comments. Look at all these comments. This is fun. So Live Panic says, this interview happened decades ago before awareness of MLM tactics was a thing. Just imagine how many people got sucked right in. Excellent point. MLM is fraud, says Dexter Yager said it over and over again, 5 and 6 nights a week. Do you mean sharing the plan over and over again? But he would say, then I joined Amway to spend more time with my family. Interesting. Rosie says, wow, someone is calling out what we all say now. MLMers nowadays need to watch this interview. Yes, I agree. I was searching for videos of Dexter to do, and then I found this one, and I thought it was super interesting because a lot of the information, a lot of it's relevant to the time period, but it's also relevant to now. So I thought it was really cool. Well, look at all these comments. This is so fun. MLM is fraud, classic bait and switch that all MLMers do. They tell you the reason to join is so you can spend more time with your family. Then once you're in, they tell you to show the plan 5 and 6 nights. Oh yeah, I agree. Like, join us, you'll have time freedom. But then once you have a team, you need to lead your team and be on all these team calls and never have any time for yourself. Yeah. Dexter said he showed the plan 5 and 6. Yeah. 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 So he's claiming time freedom and then he's showing the plan 5 and 6 nights a week. So when are you spending time with your kids or with your wife? Great point.
A driver. Okay, I've got a coach. I travel around the country, and I've got a driver. And now he's in the business, and he's going to be a driver someday. And I just told him, I said, look, you're trained to be where I'm at. And I never had a chance to be a driver, so I know how a driver should be. And work for somebody else in that capacity. I said, but you're learning how to have your own driver someday. So he enjoys what he's doing. Everybody has to do something. But the one thing we got to learn to do is to enjoy what we're doing. And if we don't, get out of it and do something else.
What does JOB mean in Amway?
JOB is a phrase that I coined. I called it, I used to be the jackass of the boss. And that's what I used to have.
I thought he was going to say just over broke because that's what the MLMers will say nowadays, but he's saying jackass of the boss. So very interesting. He said he coined it. I'm not sure if that's true or not. What does Todd say? He said, if there was not a 99.7% failure rate, Dexter would not have had to show the plan 5 and 6 nights a week. Yep. Excellent point. MLM is fraud says job means just on broke. That's funny. Okay.
Had jobs that I didn't like, and I go to work, and the boss would just come in the room, and I used to have a very poor self-image. A very poor self-image. The boss would walk in the room, and I started trying to figure out what I was doing wrong. And I remember one time when I was at Sears Roebuck, the boss came up and he stood there like this and was looking at me, and I had this big pile of power saws, and I was carrying them over to the stockroom, and he got me so nervous I just dropped them. And then I fumbled one thing after another thing after, and I could not do anything right. And the longer he stood there, the more stupid I was. And that's because I had a job, and I didn't have a confidence in me. And as you get doing...
Dexter, you didn't have that reaction to your boss because you had a job. It's because maybe your boss was toxic or was a bully to you and made you feel negative about yourself. It's not because you're in a job. A lot of jobs are nice places to work. A lot of bosses are nice, and it's not fair to assume that every single boss is toxic and is going to make you feel that terrible. Do you know what I mean? I thought that was weird.
Something you love. You really enjoy it. then you feel more comfortable with it, and you're better at it, and the outside sources don't bother you as much.
What's a stinking thinker?
Stinking thinking, I tell people, a lot of people treat their head like a garbage can with a hairy lid. Yeah, they got stinking thinking. And a lot of people do. See, they see the worst of everything. They're always trying to make everything the worst side they can. And you got to make it the best side. You can't make your life a stinking life. You got to make it a sweet smell of success, wherever we are. People say, what's success? Doing better than what we're doing today.
So what he was, oh my gosh, I can't talk. What he was saying is really reminiscent to the current day toxic positivity. So don't have stinking thinking. Don't see the worst in the situations. Always change it around to see the best.
You say that nobody has failed in Amway.
No, people quit.
A lot of people quit.
A lot of people quit. A lot of people get in.
Maybe 3 out of 4 quit in the course of a year.
I only know about my own facts. We sponsored Bertie and I roughly about 50 people, and about 40 of them are still in. So those are the only facts that I can go on.
But you know the statistics.
So he was saying that people don't fail in Amway, they quit. And that's a big narrative nowadays too, in Beachbody and all MLMs everywhere, that the only way you fail is if you stop, because if you stop, you're never going to get to your dream, because your dream could just be over that hill and you just have to keep going. And if you quit because you're in a toxic environment, because your upline is mistreating you, because your relationships are suffering, you never spend time with your kids, that's your own fault. And you failed because you quit, instead of just simply taking yourself out of a toxic environment. What do you think about that? So there's some comments here. The thing that most anti-MLMers do not understand is that the top diamonds like Dexter make the vast majority of their money from selling motivational tools. That's super interesting. So I've seen in past videos, Dexter and Amway would sell like motivational tapes and books and music. And I wonder, Band Live Export, you might know this, whether or not, like, were those Amway products or were those Dexter's products? I'd love to know. Todd Powers blaming the victim. Yes, victim blaming. Exactly. And then millions of people have failed in MLMs. Are they all lazy? Yeah, that's what they like to think. And we know vast majority of people are trying their best because they're in a really negative mental state. Possibly they may be really financially vulnerable, and they may be really, really desperate for this to work. So of course, the majority of people are going to try their best to make it happen. That's a good point.
That you hear elsewhere, that maybe 1 in 80,000 people make more than just a minimum living out of Amway.
Those facts I don't know.
1 in 80,000 people make a minimum living. Now, he didn't cite that source, but remember, this is from 1981, so it's a long, long time ago.
Oh, I know that the facts are that the majority of the ones that I work with make it.
And that has something to do with you, do you think?
That's because I love them. That's because I really love them. They're like my kids.
And when you say the majority of the people,
that's like your modern day love bombing. They make it because he loves you. You're his family, and he just wants you to succeed.
That you sponsor make it.
Yes.
Make what?
Whatever they want out of the business. It's always the next goal, the next achievement. See, like when I got into business, I wanted to be a direct. Well, I was a direct in 60 days. But after I was a direct for a while, I wanted more. And
a direct means that instead of getting your products from your sponsor, you get them direct from Amway.
From the company, and the check comes from the company instead of your sponsor. Now, I got there, and I mentally plateaued because I was mentally there for a period of time. So I stayed direct for about 3 years.
Sorry about that. My computer just stopped working. So anyone who's watching this, do you know what the direct thing means? So once you get to a certain rank, does that mean that the company is paying you and sending you the products before you get to that rank? What does that mean? So before you get to that rank, is your upline writing your checks, and is your upline sending you the products? I'd love to know. I don't really understand that. What do you think? And Scott Tex Johnson says Yager loves scamming them. Okay.
And everybody that came in was passing me by. And I was just there. But I had to take a while to get my head screwed on straight because I got what I wanted out of the business up until then, and I had to get a new mental image. I had to get a new picture of what I was going for before I could start shooting for something again. I had to get my head screwed on straight.
Well, you got it screwed on straight because you make $500,000 a year out of Amway today, don't you?
Yes, we do. And I don't know exactly what I make, but I know I make a lot of money.
So the interviewer was like, "Oh, you make $500,000 a year, remember in 1981?" And Dexter's like, "I sure do." "Well, I don't know exactly how much I make, but it's sure a lot of money." It's like, "What are you talking about? You just said, 'Yeah, I make that much,' and then you say, 'No, you don't make that much.' So which one is it, sir?"
And
But you don't sell products yourself anymore, do you?
we sell a little bit, but not a whole lot. Originally, when I first got into business, I used to sell probably about $600 a month just to our friends and stuff. And then as we got more and more busy, we had to give our customers to some of our distributors to have them take care of, because it's very important that customers are taken care of. So we had to move on to the next more important thing, and that was working with the people that we had gotten involved.
And what is the...
So our friend, the interviewer, said, do you sell lots of products? And Dexter's like, "Oh, I used to sell some, but I don't really do it now." What? So you're just sitting there admitting that you don't really sell products and you just work with the people that you bring into the business. And not only that, but you are stacking people. You're stacking customers under your distributors. That's super weird. What do you think about that?
your function along the way, Bertie?
Just kind of helping him and
What does that mean,
paperwork.
just kind of helping him?
Well, whatever.
See, this interviewer is questioning them so much. Like, what do you mean just kind of helping them? That's funny.
I guess he needs to have me do that day. In the beginning, I did paperwork and I had customers and I took care of the kids, and I did mostly paperwork and answered the phone and kind of encouraged them when they'd call, or handle their little situations if it was product situations and things like that. But it grows. Your role grows as your business grows. It grows like that.
I'm fascinated to see how many wives work very, very closely with their husbands in Amway, more than almost any business that I have had anything to do with or know much about.
Well, I guess that's been probably my biggest role, is helping the wives help their husbands.
In other words, you sort of evangelize for them, help them, answer their questions.
Teach them how.
We work pretty much with a husband and wife relationship, and
So Bertie would help the other Amway wives support their husbands and do paperwork and customer service. And then he just said, we work with the husband and wife relationship. I wonder if that's just, as Bertie said, helping the wives, or I wonder if they kind of turned into like de facto marriage counselors. I don't know if that's what he means. If anyone knows like what the role that Bertie had in the business, I would love to hear it. Let's Panic says, weren't people even being recruited into these motivational organizations? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like, do you mean Amway was the motivational organization? Let me know. Rosie says, it makes me feel so bad for the wife. Doesn't sound like she truly understands how this business works. Maybe not. I feel like she probably didn't understand it at the beginning. And then, as she said, like when she was in it more, she started to understand more about how it works and what her role is. I wonder at this time if there were women who were high up in Amway and who were working the business and who were supported by their husbands and their family, or if the role of women in Amway at this time was to support their partners and their spouse. I'm not sure about that. And I wonder now, like, are there more men in Amway now or than women? I'm not sure. I'd like to see if like the ones at the top of the company are majority women.
When people talk to me about the figures of dropouts and stuff, I always look at marriage, okay? They always tell us in the first 5 years, 50% of the marriages fail. And yet Bertie and I refuse to let ours fail. Not that our marriage hasn't been through hard times. You're married 25 years, you're going to go through the ups and downs.
He's going to be saying, all that stuff about but not a damn word. But not a word about a product. How come?
Well, the products, we all use the product.
Do you think you brought up that 50% of marriages fail to show, like, look, it's normal to fail, and that's why people fail in Amway? I don't know. I'm probably thinking too much into it.
We become experts in personal use. You don't have to explain our products to people because everybody uses them. And Amway does a fabulous job in the amalgams and in every aspect on the products.
In other words, these people are all Amway people out there, so you don't have to tell them how good the things are.
Right, right.
Another thing too,
So he said that they don't really talk about the products, because everyone uses Amway products and they're just so amazing. So you don't need to talk about it. And Amway does such an amazing job. That's pretty comical. In my opinion, people who are high up in Amway, in any MLM, don't talk really about the products because they know the products are secondary and they know that the vast majority of their money comes from recruiting people instead. So Scott says the men are supposed to lead the business building aspects and the wives keep the other wives involved. Yeah, do you mean, like, is that still a thing now among the top leaders, or is that, like, you're referring to this time period, 1981-ish? Rosie says, one time I went to an Amway pitch before knowing what it was, and it seems like they tried to recruit couples, maybe as a way to start off with an accountability partner. Interesting, Rosie. That's a good point. Simon, over 99% of Amway independent business owners lose money. Only 50% of marriages fail. Yes, great point, Simon.
this was a celebration of what the business either had done for people or was going to do for people. And it was just kind of a celebration weekend, and they just came to learn some techniques, a few little things, and get their dream back because maybe the last 3 or 4 months, some people.
Thank you, Scott. So you're saying that it's still a thing nowadays that the men are the one leading the business and then the women are behind the man just supporting him. Thank you.
And try to steal it, and it's kind of a thing where they just come together to renew their dreams.
What do you mean, in the past few months, perhaps somebody tried to steal their dream, Bertie?
Well, people will try to steal people's dreams, because we had it a lot when we were building this business. People would try to steal our dreams. My family tried. They didn't know they were trying, but they did. They said little things like, well, do you have to eat, live, and sleep this business? And at the time they said it, I didn't know. And so I didn't know what to say, and I'd think about it, and it really, those little things steal your dream if you're not strong enough to combat it.
Yeah, but there are lots of people out there.
So that's another example of anyone who doesn't understand MLM or who questions your business is negative and doesn't want you to be happy. And we know in some cases, I'm sure people might have toxic relationships with family members. And if someone's questioning them, it could be in a negative manner. But I feel like in the majority of the time, if someone is a caring family member, they're just concerned for your well-being and they're concerned for your happiness and your health, and they're not trying to steal your dream. They're just trying to protect you. What do you think about that?
I'm sure, who haven't up to now made very much of anything out of Amway. What do you tell them when month after month, year after year, they would like to, but somehow they can't?
It's not that they can't. It's that you got to keep telling them you can do it. You got to keep giving people faith over and over. It's like training a star athlete. If a person makes up their mind they're going to make it, and they'll hang in there long enough, they're going to make it. They may, like if you train that athlete, you may break a finger, break a leg, you'll take a bad fall, you'll do this and that, but you got to help them get back up on their feet. And you got to do it again and again. When I was a kid,
So the interviewer said that a lot of people can't make money in Amway, and what do you tell them when they can't make money? And he's saying that you just need to give people more faith and you need to keep encouraging them to keep pushing in their Amway business. And that kind of attitude, I think, really keeps people in these businesses for a really long time, even if they're not making any money, because you keep getting encouragement from your upline. You keep being told, oh, just keep going, keep pushing. Your dream is right around the corner. It's right over that hill. Instead of someone telling you, okay, let's do a profit and loss statement. Let's figure out if you're actually making money. Let's figure out how your Amway business fits with your personal finances. Are you able to pay your bills? Are you able to feed your children? It's just such a toxic cycle of manipulation where you're just kept in this system for as long as possible because we know it benefits your upline and their upline and so on. Dave says, yes, I was told by my upline to stop talking to my brother because he was negative about Amway. That's terrible. I'm so sorry. People who do not support Amway are negative. You're told to stay away from them. And that's so sad because, as I just said, the majority of the time they're not negative. They're just concerned family members who love you and who want the best for you.
I lived in Rome, New York, and I lived at the end of the runway. And they had all these GIs training to be pilots. And every time a plane would come down, automatically the sky within hours would be full of planes because they made all the pilots go back up and fly again. Because they had to get over that fear of that accident. And immediately they get everybody in the air. And that's the thing.
Every time a plane came down and crashed.
Right.
Every time there was a crash and somebody got killed, they'd automatically take all the pilots and put them in the air instantly, so that they would get over the fear. If they waited, the longer it was before they went up again, the less the odds were they'd get them up. And that's the same thing here. People are going to fall and they're going to stumble. See, most people haven't ever been in sales and been involved in people. And people are fantastic, but some people can hurt. Some people can.
So in my opinion, I think that story about the planes, maybe he's blaming the individuals who don't make money in Amway and saying that they're not resilient enough to be successful in Amway. And look, these pilots who just got in a terrible crash got right up into the sky again to keep flying. And why can't you keep trying? Because I just talked about you have to keep pushing in MLM in order to find success. And he said this too, you only fail if you quit. So toxic.
Come and steal your dreams, like Brady says. But I wrote a book, Don't Let Anybody Steal Your Dreams, simply due to the fact that's the one challenge most people have to conquer. When we came south, when we decided to move south, people started telling us it's full of cockroaches, you won't like it, the sun, this. We love it, but they tried to take away that dream. When I was a little kid, my dad wanted to buy a hotel in Myrtle Beach.
So he's saying that people who gave their opinion on them moving to Florida were stealing their dream because they didn't say, oh yeah, amazing, go to Florida. Like, I moved from one side of the country to the other, and if I asked a friend of mine, hey, what do you think about this city? If they don't like the city, that's not stealing my dream. They're just giving me my opinion. So in his opinion is just someone telling you what they think. Is that stealing your dream? That doesn't make any sense.
And him and my uncle was a fireman, and my dad was a plumber, and they had this big dream of buying this hotel. And they went back to the family to talk to them, they were going to raise money. And the rumors were out, the hotel sinking, and the hotel was burned, or was torn down a couple of years ago. It never sank in the ocean. But all those rumors are out there. Every time we try a new venture, if you were going to become the world bowling champion. And I see this, I speak in high schools with the kids. I just love kids. And sometimes I don't know much.
Why was Dexter speaking in high schools? That seems weird to me. Like, was he talking to high school children to recruit them into Amway when they're legal? Let me know if you know.
I just stop talking. They take me in sometimes 45 minutes and it's 3 hours. But kids come up to me and tell me, well, I want to be a runner. And my mom and dad don't understand it. And I have to sit down and say, just keep loving them and keep doing what you got to do and explain to them that you want to do this, but you submit to them and you respect them. If you respect them, they'll respect your wishes.
Yeah, I must say, you're talking about submitting to people.
Most of the time he spoke was about money.
Oh.
He gave many business principles. I read a book many years ago, In His Steps.
That was a weird cut. So does Birdie mean that when he talked to the high schools, he was telling them business activities or whatever? I don't really understand that.
So none of us are perfect, okay? And I don't try to be. Such as a lot of people don't understand Christianity today. A lot of times you get a battle between the Christians and the Jews. This should never be. When I became a Christian, I got accepted into a Jewish family because Jesus.
Why are we talking about religion in an MLM? Faith manipulation is so horrible within this industry. It drives me crazy because I know religion and faith is such a huge part of so many people's identity. And it's really, they use it to prey on that big part of people's identity to make people think that God or their higher power wants them to be in the MLM and that their higher power put them in this place at the right time. I hate it.
This was a Jew. And so I love the Jews. If it wasn't for the Jews, I wouldn't have a Jesus. And a lot of people don't understand what Christianity and the love of the fellow man is all about. I don't have to like things that people do, but I love them. If somebody does something dirty to me,
I have a question for anyone who knows about this. So Joe says Dexter Yager telling Forbes magazine that 2/3 of his income comes from the sale of tools. So did Dexter make these tools or are they Amway tools? So I wonder if the top distributors made these tools themselves, and if they did, was that like from their own pocket or did the company support them financially to make those tools? Do you know what I mean?
I still gotta love them because they don't do things on purpose. They do things because they got a problem.
I see overtones of religion.
So he says he still loves people even if they're like horrible to him because they have a problem and it's not their fault. No, if someone's really horrible to you and you don't like the way they're treating you, you don't need to love them and you can cut them off. In my opinion. What do you think?
In Amway.
In my Amway. Not everybody's Amway. Everybody has their own Amway.
Well, the Amway that I've been hearing about for the past 48 hours here in Charlotte, North Carolina, there's been a fair amount of talk that has religious overtones.
Well, yes, that's me. I'm a Christian and I don't hide it. And a lot of people come up to me and they'll say, Dexter, you're trying to use God, aren't you? I say, well, the Bible tells us to pray and to make God part of our everyday life. And yes, I want to use God to benefit other people. I want them to see Him in me. That's what I'm supposed to be as a Christian. I'm supposed to be somebody who's productive and loving my fellow man. Now, as far as what the truth is, sometimes because of my Christian witness, I turn people off and it costs me a lot of business. But I won't give up my faith and my stand no more than those Jews in Germany denied that they were Jews. They made a stand that they were Jews and they died for it. And I died.
Why in the world are we talking about the Holocaust right now? Why are you comparing the persecution of Jews and them not being able to practice their faith because they're going to be killed to you, people questioning your use of faith in Amway? You cannot compare the two. Do you guys remember seeing a video? I don't remember whose channel this was on. A lot of people covered it where a past Monday rep was talking about people's experiences in a concentration camp during the Holocaust and how we need to have that kind of mindset. So while this is completely outrageous and crazy, MLM distributors still talk about this stuff nowadays. It's crazy. Okay, there's a lot going on here. Heather, there's a speech on MLM is fraud where he said, if you leave, you won't be welcome back. Maybe I'll go look at that. Thank you. Was this in fact aired on 60 Minutes? Mike Wallace is awesome. I think it was aired on 60 Minutes. It says it is, but I'm not totally sure. Let's see. Rich DeVos, one of the co-founders of Amway, spoke out about the tool scam, then did nothing. It's on my YouTube channel. I will go check that out, Scott. Thank you. Dexter went to schools to talk about God. Ooh, that's crazy. No, Amway did not make those tools. Okay, cool. Top leaders made a fortune selling their own tools. I was there in Amway during that time. Thank you, Joe, for letting me know. I wasn't really understanding that, so I appreciate the clarification.
Died for my faith.
And I see obviously a lot of anti-communism, a lot of...
Yes, true Americanism.
To free enterprise.
We believe that America is the greatest country in the world, and too many of us sell it short. It's not perfect, like we're not perfect, but it is the only hope of the free world. And we've got to keep the free enterprise system alive because that's what made America great. It's the people, and Amway's the people. America is just land and dirt and rivers and trees, but it's the people that makes America better and greater than all the other nations in the world. And that's the same thing with Amway. It's the people.
One thing that I didn't hear a word about.
I wonder if nowadays there's still such, maybe not anti-communism, but if does Amway really like represent the pure American dream, that if you can just like pick yourself up and you can achieve what you want to achieve if you just work hard enough and you just do what you have to do, recruit people, sell a few products, and then you can be a millionaire too. So what do you think about that? Do you think there's still like a big Americanism or big American culture, American patriotism within Amway?
During this entire 48 hours, I don't think I heard a word about an Amway product. I heard about people and love and Christianity and Judaism and patriotism and anti-communism, but I didn't hear a word about you're talking about submitting to people. I get women have a very important part to play in Amway.
Yes.
But it's always, it seems, 2 steps behind the fellow.
Well, yes and no.
See, I love this guy. He's saying things. He's saying what we're all thinking, but he's doing it in like a really respectful way, in my opinion. What do you think?
No, a man needs to be head of the home to feel like a man, and he's got to rule and run. But a real man, he wants to go out and conquer and achieve for the girl that he loves. He wants to go slay the dragons for his princess. And my achievement, you know, a lot of it, the world can say whatever they want, but this girl's my queen, and I want to conquer the world for her.
So you make it happen.
I know I'm taking this within the context of the time period that's very, very traditional gender roles, where the man is the masculine protector who's providing for his wife and his family, and he said he wants to conquer the world for his lady, for his princess. And I know that this kind of ideology of ideas of gender norms is still present in a lot of places, and that's fine. But I wonder if that is still common in Amway, if men are encouraged to be like a traditional masculine man and just provide for his family and not show any emotion. I wonder, because when I heard that, I just thought it was like the gender ideals were completely like backwards, and like I never grew up in a time when those kinds of gender norms were common. What do you think? Sorry, I'm not really making sense here. So Rosie says, I went to that pitch 10 years ago and they were still pitching the American dream back then. I assume they still would say that now. That's super interesting, Rosie. Scott says, it's fake patriotism. Very few products are sold to outside customers. Yes. The money isn't made by recruiting. It's made by the downline Amway product and tool purchases. That's interesting. And VC says, tools as in screwdrivers and hammers. What does this have to do with Jesus? Oh my God, the dude looks like the villains in the early 80s cop shows. I don't know if you missed some of it, VC, but the tools were just like motivational tapes and videos and stuff like that, just to keep you in the system for as long as possible and motivate you to keep pushing for your dreams.
I figured it out Amway each year and you let her spend it.
Well, she gets what she wants.
Final question, I think. 10,000 people, let's say, came here this weekend.
Yes, roughly, I guess.
Okay.
I also didn't know who Dexter Yager was before one of the viewers actually suggested I do this and let me know who he was and which company he was in. So I understand why Chelsea might not know who Dexter Yager is.
They had to pay admission.
They had to pay to come in.
How much each night?
It was a package deal, and it's $15 per head to come in for the weekend.
So 10,000 times 15 is $150,000 gross.
Something like that.
And then you sell them all kinds of tapes.
No,
and
we don't sell them anything. We allow other people, for an example, Sammy Hall comes in and the Goats come in, and they entertain and they got T-shirts and music and everything, and they make money there this weekend from selling that stuff. But these guys are every week during the day, they're in a losing ministry in the schools fighting the dope problems and everything else. And whatever profit they make, we allow those people to come in and make whatever profit they can make to support their ministries, because we believe in those ministries and those are causes.
But even that $150,000 for the weekend, don't you make some money out of that yourselves?
Sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. Depends on the show and the expenses. And we don't go into it as a profit-making venture.
How true is that? So Dexter Yager's events, other events held by big Amway distributors, I think it's false. I think they go into it wanting to make money, of course. That's the whole motivation of these companies, of these distributors, because they know what makes them money. So Amway independent business owners are banned from speaking on social media, which is why anti-MLMers do not talk about Amway. Yeah, that's a good point. Someone mentioned that earlier. Yeah, you're right, because the companies like Monat or Arbonne or Beachbody, they're really, really common and popular on Instagram, and you'll see YouTube videos all the time from those distributors. And so people who are interested in that content, who are doing their research, who might want to start a channel themselves, they're not going to come across this stuff unless they were in Amway, unless someone told them about it. And so, yeah, you're right. That's a really, really good point.
Go into it as something that's needed. The first one I had, I would made $25,000 for the whole year in my business. And the first function I had, it cost me $5,000. I went the whole $5,000. But it was worth it because, you're putting it all on the line for one weekend. One weekend a year, you're putting it all on the line. So you try to do the best, and you want to eat, live, and sleep. And sometimes, I've gone to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning because you're just trying to give them that extra ounce that they can get out there and make it. So to go for it. It's correct.
So he was saying in these events, he just goes all weekend, and sometimes it even go from like 3 or 4 in the morning because he just wants to give them so much. And I think you're not doing that because you want to just give people all the information. I think we've seen lots of content about this where people are sleep deprived at these conferences. They don't have food. They don't have time to just think about it. They don't have time to think about what they're hearing and analyze the information. And so it's not like a good motive. It's because you want to confuse people and you want people to not really know what's going on and like where they are. So please play Dexter's speech where he said if you quit, you would not be allowed back. Dave, I think you mentioned that already. Where is that speech? I forget. Sorry. Can you let me know?
Sure. It's apparent, Dexter, that you are her hero. Do you have any?
Yes, I have a lot of heroes. Clean Americans, guys like Rich.
What in the world is a clean American? When I heard this, I think like the men he's going to describe, they're white, they're middle-aged or older, they're probably heterosexual, they're probably European, their families were not immigrants, probably. They're all very, very high income. Is clean American, is that racist? I feel like it is. Within Amway, anyone who's been in there, do you know, like, was there much diversity in Amway? Were the top distributors, were the majority of them white, or was there representation of diverse backgrounds? I'd love to know.
DeVos and Jay Van Andel. I love the President of the United States for his commitment at 70 years of age when he doesn't have to.
Yes, the president has to commit because that's his freaking job. It doesn't matter how old he is. Just like the current president, I don't like, isn't he like 78 or something? It's his job. He has to commit.
I love guys like Red Skelton. I've had Paul Getty. I've read his book As I See It, and he was just so honest, and he put it on the line. And there's so many great Americans like that you just fall in love with. W. Clement Stone. He just put it on the line. Hilton, when he built the hotels. Guys that are sharing with other people that want to come up. But it's sad. So many people ending up. I get accused a lot of times of brainwashing people. And I say, yes, I like to clean their brains up because so many people are reading Playboy and they're reading junk when they should be reading the lives of people that have made it, so they quit crying about their problems and do something. If we had more people reading Paul Getty's books, we'd have less people on welfare.
Okay, so first he said, yeah, he brainwashes people. He cleans their brains off. I don't know if any of you guys watched a video I did of Jessie Lee Ward on my channel where she says, of course I brainwash people. I clean off the negative influences. I think it's super interesting that these top distributors, even in the 1980s, kind of make light of brainwashing and make it into a joke when it's actually a really, really serious, dangerous thing, and it's what cults do. So interesting. And he said if everyone read this book by this man, I don't know who it is, I forget, no one would be on welfare. I think that's a really good representation of the thought process at the time when people were the assumption was that people were living in poverty, people were low income, not because of structures and systems in place that put them at a disadvantage, but instead because they're lazy and they don't want to work and they don't want to actually improve their situation. And I think while that is a bit of an older ideology, that's still very, very prominent in MLMs now, where you hear that, like, you're broke because it's your fault. You want to be broke. You have to make the choice to not be broke. What do you think about that?
People say, well, come on, Amway has become a kind of cult. It's almost a religious cult. People worship Dexter Yager, or they worship Fernando and DeVos. You're brainwashing people.
Dave, thank you. So I'll go to MLM is fraud and I'll look into that speech. Thank you.
There's a big difference between worshiping and loving. Mike, I love you because you're a successful man and you're committed to what you're doing. Whether anybody else does or not, I love you and I don't have.
You don't love this random man you've never met. I feel like you respect him. You think he's good at his job, but respect and love, in my opinion, is not the same thing. I feel like that's really weird, and that's probably just a way of love bombing people in their downline. What do you think?
To judge my love on what they do. And some people are going to love me because they want to do what I'm doing. And some people aren't going to love me. And that's just the way it is. I want as many to love me as possible, but I'm not going to win them all. And I'm not a god. I'm not somebody to worship. And I think people like me more because they see my mistakes. You know, a guy that doesn't make any.
Oh, is the interviewer's name Mike Wallace? If so, yes, I love him too.
Mistakes isn't doing anything. And the more you do, the more mistakes you make. I'm far from perfect. I never will be. And people relate to that a lot easier. I couldn't relate to a perfect man. I'd have to say, yeah, he's one of a kind. I'm not one of a kind. Anybody can do what I'm doing. They just don't want to.
That's also a huge thing that we hear nowadays. People who are at the very, very top of their company because maybe they had a huge social media following. Maybe they were like the 100th person in, right? Oh, you can do it too. You just have to want it. It's like, no, you can do it too if you can have half the company in your downline. And if you got in like 3 months after it became an MLM company. I hate when these top distributors don't actually just acknowledge the privilege that they got getting in early and acknowledge that it made it easier for them to recruit and build a massive team.
Not easy. You got to pay the price. You got to be committed.
Bernie, is he an easy fellow to live with?
Yes,
I think he is now, since I've begun to understand him. I didn't understand how anybody could be a workaholic and love it.
So I'm just going to stop it there because this video cuts off at a really awkward time and then it just like keeps going into the next video. So that's all I have for today. I hope you liked it. Sorry, it was a very, very long video. I just really wanted to talk about quickly who Amway is, who Dexter was, and then do this video. I think even though it was from 1981, as we talked about here, a lot of what he was saying and a lot of what Birdie was saying still rings true today and is still very, very relevant. So I hope you liked it, and thank you to all these people who commented. That was really fun having so many comments on my screen there. It made it a little hard to focus on the video, but it was really, really fun, and I really enjoyed the conversations that we had. BC, oh my goodness, BC says good analysis. Thank you, BC. I appreciate that. Rosie says, thank you for another excellent live stream. You're welcome, Rosie, and thank you for coming and for always leaving really nice and encouraging and thoughtful comments on my videos. I really, really appreciate that. Jessica says, Amway has donated millions to all sides of politics, and that is the only reason why it is still legal. That's a really good point. Thank you, Jessica. Live Panic, good stuff, Heather. Thank you, Live Panic. And also thank you to you for always leaving me really nice and encouraging comments. I really appreciate that. Jessica says, please make a video on Bill Clinton's support of Amway. I might do that if I can find some good research on it. That's a possibility, but that's a good idea. Thank you. And so I think that's all I have for today. That was really, really fun. Thank you to everyone. I might do another live stream on Sunday, I think. So if you're free, come check it out. If not, you can watch the replay. So thank you, everyone. And thank you to everyone who watches it later. Okay. Thank you. Bye. Thanks, Jessica.